Kristin Russell, and this is my persuasive speech. Someone once asked me how I would like to be remembered outside of high school when I'm off to do greater things. I said as a nice, kind, friendly person. No one wants to be remembered or seen as a bad guy, nor does anyone want to be seen suffering and in pain. Assisted suicide, or euthanasia, has been around for a very long time. According to the Oxford Dictionary, it is helping a person end his or her life by request in order to end suffering. While assisted suicide is legal in many countries, it is not legal in all 50 states of North America. Only Oregon, Montana, and Washington. This issue has been through the courts and brought into questioning not only here in the United States, but also in various other modernized countries. I think assisted suicide should be legal here in the United States, under certain standardized conditions. Everyone has rights, but is the right to die one of them? I think yes. People who are dying and in pain are the most vulnerable people on this earth. Society needs to be more vigilant about their suffering and help those to the best of our abilities, and give them the choice with their lives. Emma Thompson shares her beliefs in her articles. I quote, "Our mission is a mission of compassion, of generosity. We know that no one is more vulnerable than those who are dying and in pain." End quote. She says, society can provide protection for those vulnerable individuals. If someone is dying, there is no possible cure, and they are wasting away, they should have the right to choose assisted suicide if they want to. They may feel as upon a burden upon society and not want to be here anymore. No one should have the choice to take away their right to life or death, especially if they are already going to die and they are currently racking up medical bills for their loved ones to take care of when they are gone. Not only do these people with terminally ill diseases have the right to die, they have the right to pass with dignity. The idea of dying a slow, elongated, painful death makes terminally ill patients wish for a quickly delivered, more peaceful passing. This issue came up in a Singapore court when the Chief Justice, Sunish Marin, pointed out that it should be dealt with their parliament and not in their courts. He goes on to add that assisted dying should be a matter of public debate and private conversations, as well as personal reflection. In Singapore, the doctors usually prescribe medicine for the terminally ill patients. This medicine is in regular doses, numbs the body, and will help patients sleep. But in larger doses, it depresses breathing and brain functions, allowing the patients to die slowly in their sleep. This makes it up to the terminally ill patient to either continue living or end their life. This story proves that it is up to the patient to either end their life or not. It should not be someone else's choice. Doctors, however, should be allowed to become more helpful in this process and help patients with their intentions. No one wants to be seen struggling and in pain, by their loved ones especially. If they would rather die before they are seen sick and weak, they should have that right. People already dying have the right to die with dignity. Some say this violates the importance of their lives. This is not true. John Shelby Sponge says in his article, "Assisted Suicide Does Not Violate the Sanctity of Life," in the book titled Euthanasia, I quote, "Once people lose capacity to interact meaningfully with the people they should be allowed to die." End quote. He does, however, include that to prevent others from taking advantage of their dying deaths, there need to be rules and regulations in place. It is not wrong for those who love their loved ones to see them suffering in pain with no conscious ability left in them to be euthanized. It seems wrong to extend life as far as we can when we can only keep the body itself alive and not the person inside. The idea of fixing any abuses on assisted suicide is to have bioethics committee in every hospital that allows for assisted suicide to be practiced. That way things stay safe and do not come spoiled with those looking for greed. Life is important, but it may not be as important to those who are no longer living, being in a comatose state until their body fully shuts down. While some may feel strongly for assisted suicide, not everyone is on the same page. Some think allowing euthanasia to be legal will do more harm than good. Rand Richards Cooper is one of these people. He is a professor at Amherst College and believes that by allowing people to die, when they are vulnerable and weak, it would take away our own humanity. He recalls his days helping disabled kids in Kenya. He shares his story, how he learned a lot and kept his lessons with him, and he will never forget. He says, I quote, "We experience a profound aspect of our humanity precisely in our intimate and awful knowledge of each other's physical neediness," end quote. He thinks that by seeing those who cannot do what we consider to be basic tasks, that we are continuing to save our humanity. By allowing those who can no longer take care of themselves to an extent to pass to other places, then we are being inhuman and not bettering our society and humanity at all. Seeing those we love in pain is not a sign that we are saving humanity. I find it would be best to let those who are suffering to be given a choice whether to continue living or not. No one wants to be seen suffering or slowly suffering in pain, knowing there's nothing you can do to help. People may find it hard to save their loved ones in pain. This is why it's immorally justified to help someone commit assisted suicide. Assisted suicide is still the patient carrying out the act. It is also just assisted by a doctor or physician. As long as the physician is not swayed by greed or personal reward, it is not immoral or unethical. But then when a doctor helping assisted suicide is motivated by the suffering patient, then euthanasia should be considered moral and ethical. The physician's help in acting the patient in indirect and ends it up to be the patient and the patient alone to commit the act of assisted suicide. Timothy Quill backs up his beliefs when brought to the court for his involvement in his patients. One would be his patient Diane. He was found innocent. After winning the trial, he goes on to say, I quote, "Laws can be incredibly promote loneliness and abandonment and death. Should be carefully reconsidered." End quote. Helping a patient end his or her life when and while they are in pain and suffering can be horrible and not moral at all. In many cases, this court followed this code. Whether or not someone chooses to live or die should be the government's choice, especially if that said person is already dying. Not only with terminally ill, but they are in pain and not wanted to be remembered as they are seeing their last days. If they would rather not be seen the way they are and remembered, then they deserve the right to choose assisted suicide. I hope from this speech, if you have gained anything, it is that people deserve the right to choose for themselves and their point in question.